There's a million gruesome ways to die!
One of the best ways to bring back a core memory is by listening to a video game soundtrack. Not only do they remind you of a good time, many of them were attached to cool mechanics. Of course, I'll use the obvious examples of the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Who didn't spam the Song of Storms just to see the windmill dude freak out for the millionth time? Or use the Bremen Mask March to lead a chick parade? So take a second to imagine a game where you could create moments just like that once again. Enter Billie Bust Up.
The party is this way!
If you've spent 5 minutes on TikTok or Twitter, there's a chance that this name is very familiar to you. It's a game currently in development by Giddy Goat Games that bakes adaptive music into the platforming and boss fights. Does this guy from Conker's Bad Fur Day ring a bell?
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you.
As far as the official source of inspiration, the creators have pointed to the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and the Rayman Legend music levels. I can already see some of you side-eyeing me and saying, why get excited over an unreleased game that has what some people consider banger soundtracks? Let me tell you right now that a lot more than that is going on in Billie Bust Up. In fact, there are 4 ways in which the music and the way it functions in this game will most likely make it a successful indie darling. The first reason will be the most video gamey one: mechanics. Just listen again to this bit from the Barnaby boss fight.
Join the fun! No need to feel for I am here! Your mortal form will disappear! Now should we use this rusty knife or acid water gun?
Each time a bell is struck, your character Billy has to jump for dear life. While we may not all have the best reflexes, it still makes the fight engaging and teaches us what to watch out for. Little by little with some practice, the bells cause us to Pavlov dog our way into being one step ahead of Barnaby's attacks. Another music mechanic at play is adaptive music. Sometimes it's as simple as the game adding instruments to the soundtrack as you get closer to different NPCs. It's also a great way to establish some leitmotifs. What the heck's a leitmotif, you ask? It's a mini musical theme that's attached to a character, place, or idea. I'll make it even simpler. Does
sound familiar? That, my friends, is an example of the power of the Force.
I mean leitmotifs. The musical flavor and playful mechanics don't end with leitmotifs though. In one of the beta builds during the Fantoccio fight, the soundtrack skips repeatedly if you choose not to attack him when he's weak, and he'll heckle you about missing your cue. Another huge factor that's helping build an early large audience for the game is the clever blend of nostalgia and tie-ins. In a July 2023 TikTok, Giddy Goat Games mentioned that they're big fans of the My Little Pony series and love the community built around it. If learning this information makes you feel insecure, remember that even in God of War, Kratos is bossed around by an adorable fluffy squirrel.
My goodness, what a strapping physique!
The MLP influence isn't a minor one. In fact, the soundtrack doesn't just sound like something straight out of the series. It was crafted by Mr. MLP himself, Daniel Ingram, the same musician known for writing This Day Aria, In Our Town, and over 80 other bangers. Creative director Katie Nelson brings up how Barnaby, the goofy owl guy that's making Billy's every waking moment a nightmare, is a throwback to the Lord of Chaos himself, Discord. The similarities are pretty uncanny when you think about it. Just like Discord, it feels like he's about to burst into laughter with every line he says. He can make any spot he haunts go from 0 to mayhem in 3 seconds flat, and He's a silly, stretchy noodle. Why stop at an MLP influence? If you recognize any of these properties, then you'll know when I name drop Michael Kovach, Edward Bosco, Amber May, and all these accomplished vocalists on the cast list that we're looking at a stacked Jenga tower of talent. Each of them brings their own fan bases that are nostalgic and hungry for, in the words of Gabe himself, entertaining fire. This brings us to my third point. The music of this game uses what I would call a memeable template. You know that TikTok that goes, "I'm looking for a man in finance"?
Trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes.
Girl on Couch nailed writing a memorable and easily repeatable chorus. Speaking of repeatable, isn't it funny that the definition for the word meme often includes the phrase repetition? Even if we put the lyrics aside and focus on the instrumentals, you'll notice those satisfying repetitions. In Barnaby's song especially, you got that great drum kick that builds and builds.
Why resist when the party's just begun? Maybe something on a bike.
It makes you want to grab the keyboard off your desk and just dance along with it. It's thanks to using repetition effectively that every time Billie Bust Up songs are replayed on a site like Spotify, good lord, look at those listening stats, fans begin to form a solid understanding of character personalities. It's getting to the point where not only getting fantastic song covers,
I've had enough of you, so time to be my puppet.
we're also getting tons of fan animatics, art, and animation from all across the internet. Go load up the official Billie Bust Up TikTok account and you'll get a master class on meme-based marketing. One of their highest performing videos this year simply asked, "Which is your favorite song of the game?" And thousands of people replied in the comments, quoting the lyrics they've come to truly love. In the past section, I emphasized how what's catchy and familiar provides a game a memeable template. However, the lyrical and melodic twists in Billie Bust Up are just as important. In the Fantoccio battle, for example, we expect to hear the reoccurring melody that goes with the line,
I've had enough of you, so time to be my puppet.
Instead, a drastic tone change happens, and he starts to deliver his lines in the following way.
A battle like no other. Better move, 'cause here's another.
And while the hands seem like the battle's big bad, as a player, we realize in that moment that the stage itself is gonna be everybody's worst enemy. Surprising spices are also sprinkled in the song's visuals and wordplay too. Randomly, we learn Fantoccio has a penchant for French in the line, "What's wrong, my petite chère?" And what do you know? He happens to have a great wife by the name of Sharkspear. Billie Bust Up and IKEA Blowhigh Shark collab, anyone? All these delicious details aren't just locked in the world of the game. They've made their way across social media, with people theorizing plot details on Discord, Reddit, and even Paper Airplane. While some people might complain and say this falls into the classic promo trap of revealing the entire plot before something is released, creative director Katie explained how she believes in sharing character intros and openers, not spoilers. So I bet you're asking now, where are the rest of the points? It's important to acknowledge how clever Giddy Goat Games was to pivot the focus of their game. Turning Billie Bust Up into a musical-based platformer was a choice made much more recently than you may think. According to a June 2023 TikTok, the story was written over 7 years ago, the unique musical mechanics were only added as of 3 years ago, and all of these changes happened thanks to a super enthusiastic reaction to one singing boss. I've brought up before how your community carries you, and how effective it can be to springboard off of that. As I was recording this video, the news broke that Giddy Goat Games publisher Humble Games permanently shut down. Humble Bundle Inc. promised that past contracts are still going to be honored, here's the good news. Fans who supported the past crowdfunding campaigns actually saved the future of Billie Bust Up. The studio quickly posted several updates saying all was well, and that the game will still make it happily across the finish line. This proves that being a community-first studio is often a good choice. You'll get bombarded with some odd requests, but at the same time, listening to a few of the special ones might help you climb higher than you ever did before. By the way, don't you dare hit that subscribe button or watch me live on Twitch every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. Don't!